To do certain motions here, and I want to speak to you and honestly speak to my Democratic colleagues.
No, we're talking about names to use, like when you order takeout or whatever. What's your name? I used to use Joe Montana.
Are we ready, Alicia?
He has to change the same for total difference.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's good.
We ready? All right. Welcome, everybody. This is a regular meeting and public hearing of the Grantsville City Council. For the record, today's date is March 25th, 2026, and the time is 7 p.m. This meeting is being held at the Grantsville City Council chambers located at 429 East Main Street in Grantsville, Utah, as well as electronically via Zoom. I am Mayor Heidi Hammond, and I will conduct a roll call. Councilmember Butler.
Present.
Dalton.
Present.
Skinner.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
All members are here and present. And next I have asked Les Peterson to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Les, for being here.
When the command is given, please render the proper salute to our flag. Present arms. Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Before we start our meeting tonight, you may have all heard of a tragedy that has happened near our city. Two individuals lost their lives at an accident on Parachute Lane and Mid Valley Highway. So we're going to start today with just a small moment of silence for them. Thank you. We wish our condolences to their families and associates. Our first item of business tonight is public comment. If anyone would like to make a comment, please come forward. The floor is open to the public this time. And if you're on Zoom, if you will please raise your hand. Anyone online, Alicia? Okay. All right, I don't see any public comment tonight, so we will close that agenda item. Next, we have our summary action items. Item A is approval of minutes from the February 18th, 2026 City Council regular meeting. There's no discussion needed. If someone would like to make a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the minutes from the February 18th, 2026 City Council regular meeting.
We have a motion by Councilmember Thomas. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Dalton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is item B, approval of the minutes from the March 4th, 2026 City Council regular meeting.
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the minutes from the March 4th meeting.
Thank you. Is there, Councilmember Butler has made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Councilmember Skinner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And the last item C is approval of the bills. Does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns on the bills?
I had a question about just some payments for the firefighter stipend that we approved in our
Mhm.
last meeting. I'm just wondering, I know that we have quite a contingent of volunteer firefighters and we approved that in the last meeting. I saw maybe a little more than a dozen of those stipends that were paid out in accordance with what we had approved. Just wondering how many more of those are there gonna be? Or is that it for the year?
That's it for the year.
Okay. Thank you.
For next year, hopefully more.
Yeah. So that all was driven by participation then, right?
Okay, there's a few of them that didn't meet the criteria this year to get the stipend, so hopefully this incentivizes them to get that next year.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Chief Remick, for that update on that. Any other concerns on the bills?
Make a motion, we approve the bills as presented.
We have a motion by Councilmember Butler. Is there a second?
I can second it.
Second by Councilmember Williams. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, a proclamation declaring April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in Grantsville City. So this is an official proclamation that will be signed. I'm not going to read all of the item, but in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And this holiday is called Arbor Day and was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. We have a wonderful tree program in Grantsville. The applications for that are due this Friday. So if anybody is interested in purchasing trees, the applications are due. in 2 days. So I, Heidi Hammond, Mayor of the City of Grantsville, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the City of Grantsville, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. So that, I think, will take care of that. We will be celebrating with the students at the elementary schools on April 12th. But Arbor Day is on the 24th, so we'll look forward to all the trees coming in for the tree application, so that is great. And we will move forward with that item. Item number 4 is a discussion and direction from the council regarding the sewer rate study. And Aspen, are you the one talking with us about that, or is?
We have Robert here.
Is Robert on?
I think so.
Robert is here. Hello, Robert.
Hi. So yeah, Robert Russell with Ensign Engineering. Mike, did you send out the email to city council?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
They have it, but we
Okay.
probably should see if we can pull.
Okay, let me get that.
Your computer. on
Is that the
screen.
PDF you sent out with the map?
For
Yes,
the results of
The notes.
What's that?
Yes, it would be the email that lists all the stuff with that. And we just received that today because the bid for the sewer treatment plant came in today. And then Robert Russell updated the numbers for the rates based on those numbers. And then yesterday, Alex had reached out to a lender that is possibly gonna provide the bonding for this and gave us a kind of a general idea of what the rates are gonna be, and Robert's gonna cover that, but they're saying the rates are now increasing due to the fact that there's the war over there in Iran that's creating some issues here, and it's increasing the rates. So Zions is advocating that we take that into account, while the longer we wait, the rates might increase further. So I think the rates that he was saying are pretty close to the 5% right now. I think Robert has those pulled up, so I'll let you take that.
Okay, yeah, so since last time we met, we've talked to 2 different developments. So we talked to North Star and then Deseret, and we've got this upsize cost on the, let's see if I can get it pulled up.
Robert, do you mind sharing your screen?
Oh, is it
On
not?
Zoom? Or,
Oh,
It's
so
not-
I gotta log into Zoom.
yeah, oh, there it goes.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay, so that first bullet item, we talked to Deseret, who's constructing this Mac Canyon collector, and then the West Bank interceptor, which is from basically this orange line, if you can see my cursor there, to the Northwest Lift Station. And when we talked to North Star, their intent is just to pay their impact fees. And their sewer flow goes through the West Street collector. It connects here. So what we've done is we've got this upsize and we've got 2 different segments for the West Bank interceptor. So we've added that cost into the impact fees and the sewer rate study. That was point number 1. And once, I made a note here that once we get their engineer's cost, which are based on contractors' bids, we'll update that. And to Michael's point, this was an email sent by Zions yesterday on just the various updated, 20-year, 25-year, 30-year interest rates. And so what we've updated with the 30-year loan at the 5.052% interest rate. And then to maintain a positive impact fee fund balance and meet our metrics that we've discussed previously, the 1.25% debt service coverage ratio, and then the 180 days cash on hand. We can reduce the private bond amount a little bit, not as much as previously, because we've added that West Bank interceptor upsize cost, but what we're using in the calculation is the 28.4 million. And then with the bid opening today, the cost is 43,700,000. We've maintained the construction contingency. We've got, out of that comes the $1 million engineering loan, which has already been paid. And then we've got kind of these ancillary fees, you know, the 2.4 million for the design and construction management, the funding work that Jones DeMille did, environmental, in-bridge gas service, just extension of a gas line out to the treatment plant, and then Rocky Mountain Power, their service out to the plant as well. And so updating that with, you know, everything that we previously calculated, the current impact fee for a 3/4 inch meter, which is essentially single families, $5,950. And then it does go up slightly based on, you know, the increase in the wastewater treatment plant and the additional West Bank, you know, upsize costs. And so what we've done, and we presented here, ultimately what we're trying to get is kind of an average, at least in this next fiscal year, 79.25 monthly sewer rate. So we kept the base fee and then the usage fee, and we've got a couple different options. We've got a, you know, lower rate, you know, at $40, and then kind of a medium base rate. And really what this is reflecting is kind of a similar basically usage fee as commercial, and then a higher base rate at $65, but a lower usage fee. So we just kind of tried to present a couple different options. Those can be tweaked a little bit here and there, but I mean, ultimately you've got to pay, you know, for the wastewater treatment plant. And you can see with all of these, we're trying to, meet the 1.25 debt service coverage ratio and then the 180 days cash on hand. I guess any questions?
What did we decide? Let's see, the average usage of water from the months of November to December was 5,306. Right?
Right, yep.
So if that were the case, this last option, the low base rate option, which is $40 a month, starting in 2027. So if, you know, a household's at that average,
So that's $79.54.
still $70 a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so 75. If they're average.
They're average, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but it
if it
does help
was-
people who are lower, sorry.
What's that?
I was saying it does help people who don't use
Yeah,
that.
there's some that are lower,
Yeah,
and
certainly
then this
does.
is the max, and this is based on, you know, the meter data that we've had for last, I mentioned it there, but. Yeah, it was November 2019 to 2025. So you'll see fluctuations in trailer, right? Just because with the different base rates and usage rates, just because trailer has a larger range of usage than single family.
I have a question, which is just like a generic, I mean, we've talked about this a lot of like, why don't we raise the developers' impact fees? So I have a question of, if we were to do that prospectively, that doesn't change the amount we need to get on a loan here, right? There's no, like, if we say, hey, we're gonna raise impact fees for developers in the future, that doesn't make us have less of a loan that we need to take right now.
They kind of end up going hand in hand, right? Because we're projecting in the next 10 years, like how many impact fees are gonna be coming in based on a growth rate, which we try to be a little bit more conservative, just so, you don't not have enough money to pay,
But that's just based on a fixed rate that we have right now. So like
Yeah.
what I guess my question, what I'm asking is if we were to raise those, say, hey, in the future, we're gonna raise these impact fees for developer. I know there's only a certain amount we can go, right? There's not, like, we
Right.
can't say, hey, we're gonna give this cost bit essentially all to you. But if we were to do that, say, hey, I mean, we already have a projected amount that we think it is, but if we were to raise those, put a little bit more on that. I guess the problem with that is that we don't know.
Yeah, we
how
just
much-
don't know.
We don't know. And then we risk that not having that amount.
Like we discussed, I mean, we look at impact fees annually and we can definitely look at sewer rates annually and adjust those accordingly.
But this number is taking into account those impact fees that we're expecting in
Correct,
the next.
yes, yeah.
With
those show up.
with the estimated growth rate,
Of what we have currently.
well, we were at around 2% this year, and then I think we're showing something similar for the next year,
Yeah,
as then it increases.
3.5, if I remember correctly, and then kind of leveling off at 4.
And so if that like is higher actually, then we just pay the loan back faster? Is that how, then we can?
Yeah,
pay
you
like,
collect more impact
we
fees.
collect more impact fees.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
And you could potentially use it to pay off the loan faster.
Or we could look at the rates again. I mean, we're gonna look at. these
Or
rates.
yeah, not raise the rates as much, like
Right.
there's things to consider there.
Okay,
Yeah, and those show up here as, other revenues in this spreadsheet.
We started a discussion, I don't know that we finished, about if we switch to this usage billing way, I guess, is there more cost to the city to do that?
Yeah, Michael, have you?
you've I guess, looking at that and talking with staff, we are currently doing that with our businesses. So we do have it already programmed in our system. It will just take the time to integrate that for all the other 4,000 residential side of things. So
Okay.
we have staff already trained on how to do it for the 150 businesses that we have. We just have to upscale that. And again, we do want to look at getting our meters upgraded to the AMI system and purchasing those towers. We did finally get the cost of those towers. We're gonna need 3 to 4, and those are about $18,000 for the equipment. And then depending on the location where we can put those, if we already have a tower, like at the Public Works building, we will utilize that tower, so it'll just be the cost of that equipment installation. If we have to put in like a power pole to act as a tower in another location, that'll be the cost of the installation of that power pole plus that equipment.
So who's paying for that? How are we paying for that?
That will be coming out of the water fund, because it'll be also collecting on the water data, and then also that's what we'll use to calculate the sewer for those months of November to March.
Yeah, the winter usage.
And so that will help us get that daily calculation. Because we already have all the meters, which is really helpful for our city, as we've been purchasing meters that can read all the data daily. We just haven't put in the towers in place to collect that data daily. And so we're gonna look at implementing that right now to help get that in place. And so we're pretty much there and can implement this usage fee pretty quickly.
Right now, is it just radio read? Or are you just going around?
Yeah, we do the radio read, but all of our meters that we've purchased can do that and can be backwards compatible to collect it once we put in the towers.
Okay.
And so, like I said, we need 3 to 4 towers.
Right.
To do that. And so we're gonna try to take pieces of that and see what we can in our water budget to purchase those at a time. And we have put a purchase request in for one right now on the Public Works building, because we found that we have a budget in there for that. And in the next budget season, we'll try to purchase the other 2 or 3 that we need.
So with those towers, does it free up like a staff member to not have to go out there and physically read or?
Correct, it would.
Okay.
I just have a question, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but why are we worried about monitoring those usage fees when we're collecting them anyways? And we're gathering the data from November to March from the previous year to charge individuals for the next coming year.
We only
And
collect
so-
it once a month.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so if we miss
So you're-
that,
So you're collecting them once a month.
correct.
You get an average of November through March.
Yep.
And then that's what it's based off of.
Yes.
So, I mean, you're collecting that data anyways, why do we need to do it in real time on a daily basis?
It makes it more accurate and you have a better,
Well,
but we don't have to if we don't
Well,
need to, if
but,
we want to.
yeah, I get the whole accuracy thing, but if we're doing it and we're looking behind and we're charging them for the current year, then
It's a twofold thing as well, because it benefits this, but also benefits your water thing as well, because it can.
I understand that part.
It can help track whether you have like outages or your broken lines in your house and things like that. So that's the other benefit, is like a twofold benefit, that we get the more notice to our residents when there is broken lines or things like that on their property, and can respond quite quickly. Because right now, if we know it, we're months out before we notice that there's issues in their
You
lines.
could have a move in, move out situation where you're collecting data on somebody that moved out of the home, and that data is being used on that piece of property
Correct.
for a new tenant.
Good.
If not talking permanent residents, but
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're not making any decisions on this tonight. This is just a discussion, but do we have any other comments tonight?
When will we be, like, I know we're kind of,
It will be on the agenda next Wednesday.
okay. I'm just with the interest rates going up, I think we're kind of, I mean, I know that kind of makes me nervous with everything.
Yeah, we just couldn't notice it because we didn't open them until today.
Right, we just got them.
And so it had to have the proper noticing, so
I
it
guess
will have to
what
be
we're,
next.
we're
week.
looking for is whether, if we want to use that usage rate, or do we want to keep what our current base rate is right now? And if we do want to use the usage rate, do you want to use one of the proposed options here to have that presented next time? Or is there another variation that you want Robert to?
Yeah, because what we can do
Right
is we can update the actual study and then have that for the next meeting.
So you can approve the rates at that
Right.
point as well. What we're hoping to do is next time we'll approve the contract bid. And then, because the next week is notice the bond for the state, 'cause in order to get the state $16 million, we have to notice that one. And so that's what that notice is about for next week, to comply with the state requirements. And so it also like the rate study on there, and see and have that all approved. And that way we're ready to go, then to go secure that private bond.
so this 28.4 that we have here, that's excluding the 16, right?
Correct.
Or, okay.
Right. Yep.
And the 28.4's has these contingency line and the cost
Yeah.
for those other.
Yeah, it's got the contingency and plus all these
Is
other
the-
costs.
The upsize of that additional line included in this? Where is that in this?
Yeah, I
breakdown?
should have pasted that.
Is that in
here.
survey, design and CM?
No, that upsize cost, it's, let me get to it in this spreadsheet.
Is that included in the 28.4 or excluded?
It's included in all the calculations, but
Okay.
yeah, it's basically right here.
Okay.
And then here's kind of the percentages that would be.
I just wanted to
attributable.
make sure we weren't missing it.
Yeah,
dipping
we've got
into
it in there.
Contingency.
And then we did, like I mentioned, we did update it based on this interest rate that Zion sent us yesterday. So we updated the private bond amount.
I like the low base rate option.
I
I
was
feel
gonna say
that's
the same.
fairest too. And a lot of citizens have asked for that, I think.
Do
That's
you
my
want,
So
opinion.
for the average home, if I could just interject. For the average home, the low base rate with the 5,000 gallons used on average for those 5 months, $77 a month. For the medium, $77.75, and for the high, $78.45.
So it doesn't
So
change
it doesn't
much.
matter.
Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be
Smoke and
around that.
mirrors is all that is.
yeah,
Albeit the single woman who's a widow, who doesn't use hardly any water at all, maybe 1,000 gallons a month, it does affect her.
yeah, because
So
it'll be even
for-
less than the average.
But yeah,
That'd be
she'll be,
47.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
or
she'll
somebody who
be,
goes out of town for a month and is, I'm a winter visitor, or
47 or
whatever.
50.
exactly.
Yeah, they would pay
mean-
quite less than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost, $80 a year, you know, if it's somebody that, the lower amount, yeah. For a single family resident,
$80 a year, $80 a month.
a year.
A year
He's saying
in
total
savings.
difference.
A savings,
Oh,
savings,
yeah,
yeah,
savings.
savings, yeah,
Yeah.
savings.
I just think that's the only way we can, I mean, yeah, we could say everybody gets paid, charges the same, but then, you know, at least this is a little bit, some people are gonna pay more, some people are gonna pay a little bit less. Everybody's actually probably gonna pay pretty close to the average of what it is anyway, so it probably was this close to that number anyways. But I mean, I don't want it to look like, hey, we're giving you a low base rate, but then really it's actually higher than something, you know, this is what we need though, we're not going any higher than what we actually need. We're not gonna say, oh, we'll give you this low base rate, but then actually it looks like smoke and mirrors, we don't wanna do that. This is just what we need though to cover these costs.
Yeah, I mean, you need to hit, because the city's mostly single family residential, you'll need to hit that average. And it's about, I mean, you can see it kind of changes a little bit, but it's like, what we're trying to hit is 79.25, yeah, somewhere in there.
Here's a what if question, because we're gonna have lots of what if questions, but what do you do to the farmer in Grantsville who brings home his cows, his 100 head of cows, and he waters them during the winter months, and he uses 20,000 gallons a month, but it's not flowing to the sewer treatment plant? How do you measure that? How do you, I mean, how would we go about something like that? Some
That's a
sort of
really good question.
agriculture
That is a good
exemption, because you're gonna have a few individuals that are gonna have that have, you know, obviously been around a long time.
I think you could put them on a base rate fee, like if they were a new move-in, and then they'd have to come to council or would have to come to staff, and we could make some agreement to do that, and they would pay the difference in the, like what the water overall fee would be, then set their base rate for the rest of the year at that set base rate that we have the metrics of. So I think that might solve that problem.
Cause don't kid yourself, I mean,
Oh, it will
that's just
happen,
one
you're right.
example,
No.
but you're gonna have individuals that are having examples like that.
Same thing with an accidental, they're like, we don't, the meter freezes and it's our side or different things like that.
Or if there's a
it's
leak
overextended
in the
or
winter,
leak.
yeah.
I'm wondering, I understand the fairness issue and I like that. I'm wondering though, is this gonna be an administrative nightmare? When you have all these different scenarios or somebody's leaking or somebody's got the person who brought the cows in and they're watering them and they had no idea that they needed to come and talk to this, like, then we're gonna be going backwards in trying to solve all this. It sounds to me like it's gonna take a lot of staff time. Or it has the potential.
I guess, Christie, how does that handle, like,
I'm
when you
just
do have a
saying, if
leak?
they're only watering cows, they don't have a sewer bill.
Well, they do.
Well, if you do, it's
If it's at the house, that's.
If it's at the
If it's at
residence.
the house, yeah.
Or
I
it
guess
could
it
be
just
horses.
depends if those, is that the far out exception or is that gonna be the majority? And then, yeah, that would, you'd have to
No,
increase
it's
more staff
definitely
time
not
to
gonna
make-
be the majority, but I think that there's a lot of people in town who have horses, who have those, like, this isn't gonna be like 3 people. This is gonna be several households that have these different. I mean, it wouldn't have to be horse or it could be all kinds of different livestock that you would have water usage, but not sewer usage. So I'm just throwing that out. I
I
don't
think the
know.
only, then it's like, everybody gets the same rate without the base, it's just, you know, we go back to the other one, that's the only way to say, hey, everybody just pays the same. Right, that would take care of that problem of.
but then there's the equality for the winter.
Right, exactly,
Yes.
right, or the winter
Which-
visitor, yeah. But is it really are we saving them that much money? Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, some people want to fix them income.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It could make all the difference.
Yeah, I think you're talking 50 versus 80. probably.
But I also think maybe that's why getting the towers would be more helpful because we can monitor that, right, a little bit better to say, oh, wait, why is this person using so much water? What is going on? Is there a leak? Are they watering something? Maybe we need to notify them, hey, you're using a lot of water, what's happening?
And it would give us that ability to do that.
Yeah,
You do that.
We do that.
you do
Right.
that already? Oh, okay. So maybe
But
we
not
can,
on as a quick scale, it's delayed.
because you only have.
Is
so
it
many
delayed
coming out.
about a month?
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I do have a question, so just educate me, why did we go with the 30-year term instead of the 25 or 20? And how would that affect rates if we switched it to a 20 or 25 year?
The rates would go up because then you're not.
Gotta pay it off faster.
Yeah, then you gotta pay it off faster. Yep.
So your payment's higher.
Yeah, cause then, let's see here. Kind of right in here, your debt service, right, that goes up, and that's more, so then your rates go up more.
Or like $500,000 if you went to the lower rate.
I guess I have an educational question too. So we've talked about, even tonight, raising the impact fees, and I know it can only be at a certain percentage. Where are we? Are we close to that certain percentage? Or are we well below that? Where are we?
Well, so we've increased it about $200. And really, it's based, a lot of it's based on for sewer, what the capacity is of that line. What's remaining, you know, what basically in the 10-year planning period, what those, the new development coming in, what they're gonna use of that capacity. So you will, you know, as long as there's capacity in that line, you will have buy-in in the future for like the treatment plant, right? You got about 1 million gallons per day on average going into the existing. So there's 2/3 of the treatment plant that you can't pay for it all right away with impact fees, just because you're not gonna have that growth in the next 10 years. But as long as there's capacity and buy-in, you can pay, you know, use impact fees to pay for that.
And when we say impact fees, can we only increase it for the sewer part for the developers? Maybe because that's what you were saying, it's an impact fees for the developers, it's that, because they're buying into the sewer. So we're saying, hey, we're gonna raise your rates for the
Yeah,
sewer.
they're basically, they're either the developer's building it, the city's building it, but they're building projects, and then if there's any excess capacity in any existing projects, like sewer lines or any of that, then they pay for their proportionate share of those projects.
Yes, and the sewer impact fee,
Yeah,
not the water or anything else.
yeah, I'm saying we can't raise everything on them and say, you're gonna pay a lot more because we want the money. We can only do it in the sewer fee.
Yeah, we're limited on kind of how we can raise it. We've got to look at a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
When was the last increase? Was it last
Yeah.
July, August?
Like the rate increase or the?
Rate increase and the impact fees?
Yes.
Last July, right? July or August?
And that's when this one would go. into
Would take effect.
Yeah, would be in July.
Just another educational question. The weird thing about talking about upgrading the Vegas Street sewer line is that's probably one of our newer lines. I mean,
Let's see, or
I would think-
the north, let me get it open.
I would think that when the Walmart was put in, I mean, I remember that line going in. So are we saying that that's already not big enough or outdated?
So it's not, so this West Bank will remove some capacity on it because the West Street collector that was going to Northwest Interceptor and Cooley Street will be off of it. So there'll be some, you know, additional buy-in on the existing Northwest Interceptor. So there is some capacity in it, but not enough capacity for all the units that are going up here, right? Like there's just not enough at all.
Okay.
So there still is some buy-in cost for that Northwest Interceptor.
So the upsizing is that we'll have pioneering agreements and that will come before council here not too soon. For those areas up there, and anything that's above and beyond what they have to pay for that the city believes we need to upsize, is that would be the city's proportional share of that upsize cost. And so like if we want to upsize it to accommodate all of the houses below and Ivory Homes and every other smaller developer, that's why we want to upsize it while it's there, so we don't have to do it later and it's more expensive. And so that's why when we have these opportunities to do these pioneer agreements, sometimes it is really beneficial for the city to take advantage of that.
Remind me what size the developers are required to put in and what are we upsizing to?
So it's a 36-inch, and their capacity, we've calculated is about a quarter of that. So, yeah, I don't have that. I can give you the size it would have been, but I don't have that handy right now. Yeah.
heard you said North Star was just going to pay for it through their impact fees, but it was Deseret. Well, what did they say? I didn't catch that. The Deseret development.
So yeah, the Deseret Development's essentially paying for the construction of Matt Canyon Collector and this whole West Street or West Bank interceptor.
But
and-
not the upsize.
Yeah, they did not the upsize. Yep.
Back to the rates, I think that the heartburn that I have as a council member and as a citizen is that the impact fee goes up 4.1% for 3/4 inch, and the rate for
Right.
for an individual homeowner, if they use 5,000 gallons, goes up 43%. That's pretty discouraging. So.
Anyone have anything else they'd like to discuss on this item tonight?
Yep, so why and we're not increasing non-residential at all in any of these?
It's going up at the same percentage.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
47%. Is your annual increase, is that for the non-residential or for the
For both.
residential?
For both, yeah. Yeah, essentially this does go up 47.85%, right? But there wasn't a usage fee. So it goes up from, on average for a single family residential, it goes up that
43%.
Yeah,
That's what I figured.
yeah.
And I guess that brings up a great question, because if we look at the non-residential, they're almost at $100. And do we want to adjust that to have a higher usage fee and a lower base rate fee as well? I'll go next with that.
Yeah, this is what non-net residential, just on average, based on the winter months would use. Kind of high or low, average, high.
Gotcha.
That would be our, like, churches, schools, businesses. And so we want to make sure we don't overcharge our businesses, because we want to be, yes, accommodating to that, because hopefully in the future we get more businesses that will help offset the residents' costs.
And non-residential, as a reminder, it was not, the city's just, well, you mentioned the 150. There's just not that
Like
much
3% or
non-residential.
something.
Yeah, it was
I
like
think.
3%.
Yeah,
Well,
between 2 and 3.
But it's not gonna be like that forever though, that's the thing.
Well,
No.
hopefully
But we're not deciding that tonight, like hopefully in a year, you can readjust it
Yeah,
then.
right.
So that's
Yeah,
the question is,
Yeah,
this is gonna impact your businesses, and so they are gonna, the 150 that are there right now, they're gonna be paying this, so do we want to adjust it for them as well at this point? Keep them on that higher rate until we adjust it next year or the year after? I think that definitely should be a point of consideration. And then whatever direction you want us to come back with on the rates to present next week, I think is what we're looking for.
Right.
So, sorry, Mike, what were you suggesting? Go a lower base rate for the non-residential? Is that what you were saying?
That is,
And then the higher usage?
I mean, it's the smoke and mirror kind of.
Yeah,
thing
it's right.
too, But
Okay.
it does,
Same thing.
We're trying to come up with the same number and just using different math. It's Common Core math.
but we don't want to scare businesses away, so maybe we want to do the smoke and mirror for them a little bit.
Well, I think if we're doing the same for residents, I think it makes the same, the percentage is the same for both, correct?
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
seems fair.
We don't have very many small businesses in town. I'd like to make sure that we're not hurting them any more than we're hurting everybody else.
My thing is they're only at like 3% right now, so I almost said
Yeah.
that it's not going to be much if you keep it the same right now. are pretty similar to the residential side.
But we can relook at this once we get more and
Oh,
change.
absolutely.
We're gonna look at this every year, right? Okay.
So it just seems like, I mean, it seems like we've heard from the widow. Seems like we're saving the widow $6. In turn, we're charging the Hammond $6 more. And so just, we just haven't really heard from the city what's best for the city. And so if I'm reading it right, we really don't care. We can do it either way.
Yeah, because ultimately, on average, we're just trying to hit kind of those average.
I think from what Brett was saying, the numbers were really like, we're talking dollars here. It's not like
Yeah.
somebody's.
Not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I think because for the city, we have to pay the bill so that we don't get fined by the state. I think is where
Right.
we're at. And so
Right.
we prefer to have it as low as possible for all the residents and our businesses. And we're hoping to, again, I mean, find other alternatives. We're gonna go back to try to apply for the state, because this proposed bonding will allow us to callable any time so that we can go and try to get that refinanced or get extra funding for that. So that is gonna be our task at the staff levels, try to go after that extra funding. So if you do approve it next week and we go forward, we're still gonna go after all the different funding. We talked to the state, and the House Bill 492 is available. They have $100 million in that one. And we're gonna go try and at least apply for it to try and get a difference. They did say that that is a lower interest rate. It's more about a 2 right now. And so if we can secure that, that would save us millions in the long run. So we are gonna go try with this option, with the callable anytime in this thing. I think staff would recommend that we do proceed with this option right now. Is the best we've seen. And that we do be tasked to go and try to find other alternatives to reduce that in the future. And then review this every year.
That when we met with the state yesterday regarding that, the application for that is due on May 6th, and they hope to have awards on that by midsummer. So that would be soon, like we
And then-
could readjust hopefully sooner than next year.
And then that one, and then we'll also try to reapply for the place we got the $16 million. We'll go after that one as well.
That's that. So these rates would start in July of this year, right, for 2027?
Correct.
So between now and then, if things did change, we can readdress this obviously, and
Good, yeah.
yeah, depending upon, what we can get from the state in terms of
And then,
those
next
loans
year
for- for a lesser amount.
Yes, that's correct.
and next year you may not need to raise it as much, right? Yeah.
As far as the rate's concerned, do we look at multiple vendors for that, or do we kind of lock in with one vendor? I'm curious, I mean, we chose Zion's in this situation.
But Zion's actually was
Zion's-
through a he found us the loan through a different company
Okay.
altogether.
Yeah, Zion's
So
he's
is-
like a
he's
broker.
like a
Yeah.
broker right now.
So he
for
goes
us, yeah.
out, looks at the market, and you have this.
And I think
This
with all
option.
these terms, because they get into callable anytime and this low rate,
Right.
and then it's like a set amount for that time period. He's saying that that's really good, because going out on the market, you may get a lower rate, but not callable anytime, but
Right.
you can't go refinance. So this kind of meets all your criteria right now.
And you can refinance a bond if rates go down. We could refinance and say that way too.
Yes, with this one, because callable anytime, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be important, I think.
Mhm.
But for that, you typically play a little bit of a higher
But-
interest rate to kind of cover that. or what's the?
Usually, but that's why we're saying this one, they've given us a decent rate right now before the rates go up. And so if we can act on that and start the process, obviously, between now and when we actually get all the paperwork in order to do that, there's gonna be a difference between what it is. And so again, if we can get funding in the meantime, we'll offset that by that. Or wait until we get all the funding rolled in together and then refinance it all at that point. I mean, we're definitely gonna look at this and try the best we can to reduce this as much as possible.
Okay, anything else we want to discuss on the sewer rate study?
So I guess, are we wanting to go with the low base rate? Actually, do we wanna go with the usage fee, I'm assuming then, and not just back to the flat fee as a consensus?
That would be my vote. And I think we use the low base rate option.
Okay.
That's
So
kind of my
40
opinion as well.
or anything. I wouldn't, I'd hesitate to go lower than that, but
And you want to adjust the residential, non-residential to not be so high on
On the
that,
base,
the base. Because right now, as is, it's gonna be $100 where the residential base on the low rate would be 55.
Mhm.
Do you want it to, I mean, it won't, do you want it exactly comparable, or do you want it obviously a little higher for the commercial? And we can have Robert adjust that so it's more practical, that lower rate.
I think it needs to be more practical.
Okay.
So. I mean, with that average usage, with what you have there, I mean, it's $170 water bill for that average business.
right.
So,
All right, then we'll look at the low rate and make some adjustments and bring that to council next week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Robert, for all your efforts on this, and Aspen today. The opening of the bids, and hopefully by next Wednesday, we're ready to move forward. I know this is a big investment for the city, but it has to be done, so. We'll close item number 4 and move on to number 5, which is a public hearing item. A consideration of resolution 2026-15 approving a land swap between Grantsville City and Dave and Teresa Reed.
Mayor Hammond, council members, my name is Susan Johnson. I live at 291 North Cooley Street. I've been a volunteer with the Clark Historic Farm Group for 13 years since we started. And I'm here to make a statement on behalf of the executive board and the advisory board of the Clark Historic Farm about the land in question. We feel that this land is a view corridor to a very important historic and cultural site, well, several of them, from the ancient past, Stansbury Island, Lake Bonneville, to the establishment of Grantsville, farming and the salt plant, and also to modern times, families recreating together, and Clark Farm events. With the natural views of Deseret Peak, the Clark Farm and Stansbury Island, there is a tremendous opportunity to create a natural park, walking paths, benches, interpretive signage, and open areas where people can connect to the past, present, and future Grantsville. This park would anchor and enhance the work that has already been done at the Clark Farm, making a more significant impact to preserve the feel of Grantsville among all the new growth. Personally, a personal aside, I'm not native to Grantsville. We moved here, but we've lived here for almost 19 years now and have been fairly heavily involved in community events. And we've seen it change in the last 19 years since we've been here. And I mean, sometimes it's a little bit nostalgic to look back in 19 years ago to the Grantsville that was here and see how it's changed. But honestly, the growth has brought a lot of really great people to Grantsville. But it's very important, I think, to preserve what there is left of the history of Grantsville. That's one of the things that our group is dedicated to preserving. And this area is, this land that we're talking about is adjacent to our property, the Clark Farm, and it's already owned by the city. I mean, I think it would be such an amazing opportunity for the city with a relatively small investment and could impact potentially in the future tens of thousands of people. So I would urge you to take that under consideration when you make your decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to make a comment regarding this item? Or anyone online? See any other items? Is there somebody from the city staff that will be presenting this item? Or are we just ready for a
No, I can
discussion?
present if there's any
Okay.
other questions.
Does anyone have any additional questions? I know we've talked about this before. So I guess it's time for a discussion and
Are we voting on this tonight?
Yes.
I do have,
Are we? Yes?
I don't know.
Is this on the agenda unless you wanna
Yeah,
table it for? a
it-
week?
Well, we
it
did,
is.
there was a
It's-
public comment, I think that we got an email that somebody said they didn't have enough time. That we received, that they wanted more time to look, to review this. Am I wrong?
Yes, it has been noticed for 14 days.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So we're
That's all-
allowed to
that's our
make a
requirement.
decision.
sorry,
We can make a decision.
absolutely.
Okay. If we choose to. Okay.
Cause there has been some concern that this is the historic Clark Farm. And that if you look from the historic Clark Farm down the pathway, that this back portion creates that view of past historic Clark Farm. And that if we get rid of that or swap this portion, that view will be obscured with the development or other things like that that's put on there. And so I do want to point out that we met with them on site and walked through and looked at their concerns, and we want to make council aware that that would be a factor that would be giving up, is that view would be shortened to the backside of that property, and then the adjoining piece is not directly in line of the view of where the Clark Farm historically has been. And that's, I'm sure I'm not addressing it to what their expectation is, but that is in a nutshell what their concerns are.
I did go view the property as well, the little, which is, I'm more of a visual, so this lot of maps not super helpful to me, but driving it. What my concern is, you know, the Reed property does have a lot of, I don't know if it's a business or whatever these things are, there's a lot of vehicles, trailers, whatever, if that were to move. They were to move that closer, I don't know, again, I don't know if it's a business, but if that were to be closer to the Clark Farm, and that's what the back is of the Clark Farm, or a development or something. It does I mean, and I know that sometimes just development is, you know, the Clark Farm only has a certain area, but I would be concerned about that, like, you know, being at an event and that's what you're seeing is in your backyard is trailers and trucks and I don't know. On the other hand, I don't know, you know, I get the point of leaving it as just a city park. I don't know that that's our best use of the land. But I mean, I get what they're saying too. Okay, you know, that view is pretty, it's nice. It's, you know, it keeps the farm feel more in place. I just don't know for the city if having it a park is the best option. But I do have concerns if that moves there, we are taking away that view, and it does, again, I don't know what the intentions are, but I see how that could not be good for them and their business, I guess. Those are just my thoughts.
Great.
It was there's a lot of the deep dips.
A lot
and
of
stuff in
terrain,
this land.
yes.
It was a ride. So I don't know what we talked about last time that the land we would be getting is in better shape essentially, right? Than, I don't know, is it?
Correct.
It's flatter.
It's flatter.
Mm.
I guess I didn't go see the other side too well, but
I mean, it all slopes, but it is flat.
yeah.
Flat's relative, right?
I think, yeah, flat relative. I think
We are on Earth globe, so.
the concern I have, and I just, you know, I vocalized it, you know, when this came up for discussion early on, is that it isn't a acreage for acreage. I know when we're talking about a roadway, or a potential roadway that would be done later, that those would align better, meaning the acreage would align better. The way the ordinance is written, where that would be decided, or that would be tied to a future product for the city. I don't know that I like that, in my opinion. I don't like to, if we're gonna do an agreement, it'd be nice if it was clean and cut and not something that would be hinged on something that could get transferred to another owner or to another owner or to another owner.
Right.
And maybe that, you know, I'm just saying, you know, maybe not happen, but that would just be something to think about, in my opinion. So.
Rhett, Derek, Jeff, do you have opinions on this?
Yeah, I had a question about the easement access on the northeast side and whether or not that access is truly owned by Grantsville City or not. So I had a question about that. I too went to the side and drove around there and saw that there was an access on the north end, which I didn't know that existed. So if you scroll up a little bit, yeah. On the right-hand side or the east side.
Right there next to
Right up there.
Cliff Gardner. Is that where you're referring
Right,
to?
between Cliff
Bates and Gardner.
Bates.
It doesn't show on the map there, but there's definitely an access road. There's been an easement cut in there. I just was curious as to whether or not that is Grantsville City's access to that parcel, and if that access would continue, and if the Reeds are expecting that access as well.
I believe there is an access, I think, from what Shelby was saying and what she was researching, it was a horse trail. So I don't know if it's a full-blown road access. We'd have to look into that further. I believe the Reeds, we as a city would want them to connect those roads to make a cohesive development. And I'm assuming that, I believe the Reeds' intention, they're here and they can speak for themselves on that, is that they want to sell the property to a developer and then we would work with the developer in getting that access. But I think in transferring the land, we would want to make sure that that would be written in there, that would be an access point.
So in the property description, in a property description it lists that access in the
As a
description.
trail, as a horse trail.
As a trail,
Yeah.
okay.
And I believe Shelby was saying there is a distance for an access point. If we need to, then there is that land available. We could look at that, but there is right now an access, but it's not like very large.
So that War Street could potentially be
Come straight down. from
extended
there,
through.
Correct,
Mhm.
Either way,
Either way.
whether
right.
we do this or
Yeah.
whether we don't.
correct.
You can see that Cliff Gardner, I mean, he's got his fence moved all the way over. I mean, his boundary line is not where his fence line is. So. That's what I saw there, was just the access.
And if this is not the right time, we can hold off on doing this and wait.
Remind me again how we acquired this parcel, this particular parcel. I guess Shelby was the one who presented. Does anyone remember?
I do not remember. Do you remember, Bill?
This particular parcel is part of the Clark Farm?
Well,
No,
how
just
did
this part.
Grantsville City obtain this
How
piece
we-
of property?
yeah, how
For
we
what
acquired.
purpose?
They purchased it from Joe Cage.
Okay,
He's the one that built the subdivision down there. He bought the Clark farm from one of the Clark's nieces who inherited it. She sold it to Joe Cage. She also sold all of the Davenport and North Willow property that they owned to Joe Cage.
I'm curious if this property was deeded over to us due to open space for the development that's this Palomino Ranch, right?
I don't know the answer to that, Rick.
I
No.
mean, that would make sense. I mean, did we think of that in the early 2000s when these were being built? I don't know the answer to that question, but it would make sense to me that that's how we inherited the land essentially. It was due to open space, and that was the intent behind it. So.
And if that's the case, we would need that information. Or at least I would before I'll vote, so.
Okay. So then I recommend that we table this until we get that information, and bring it back on the agenda.
Unless someone feels otherwise.
I'm fine with that.
Anybody else have any comments before we?
Any other
Do that.
concerns or questions you want us to bring back?
I think just specifically the history of it. Cause if there was an agreement based on open space and we're selling it, we're breaking that agreement from prior councils, so.
There's a lot of big lots down there with all those homes. I mean, they're all 1 acre, some are half acre parcels, but majority of them are acre plus. And I mean, there there isn't a park
No.
anywhere near there. And I'm just curious if that was the intent behind there and if we move that up to the south, up the slope or the slight hill to the south, are we taking that away from what its intended use would have been for those citizens? Has everyone had a chance to go down there? You said you went
Yeah.
and you went,
Oh, yeah.
Derek, you went?
I
You
didn't
live
have a
there.
chance, I live there.
You walked out in your
You looked out
backyard.
in the backyard.
Just go for a little walkabout.
We do every free night,
Mhm.
so we walk up through the cemetery, so, yeah.
There was actually quite a few people walking when I went, when we went.
On that parcel of ground, huh?
Yeah, around
Same as I-
that, around the cemetery and on that access road.
Interesting. On Rathall Lane then. You're going down.
I've been down there several times and I think only one time has there not been at least one person walking, if not multiple, on those trails.
We need more trails.
Yeah, it would be.
Always more trails. There was no one there when I went though, but that was middle of the day, so I'm sure people have to work, but when I drove down around there, like, I just saw a lot of potential what the city could do with it. It's not the best terrain, but just the natural feel of like the pathways that are already there and the curvature, like you could put, some ponds in, just, there's a lot of stuff that the city could do with that. And it would be really hard for me to want to do the swap after going down there and seeing what it really looks like down there.
Kind of with you. So,
Yes, then.
but I would like to know what the intention was.
Yeah.
We can look at the history and see how we acquired that parcel, specifically that parcel. And if it was due to the development surrounding it to the east and to the north. I think that would be good information for us to have.
I'll get that for council.
I'll make a motion, we table item number 5, which is resolution 2026-15.
I'll second.
We have a motion to table by Councilmember Butler and a second by Councilmember Dalton. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, we will table item number 5. Number 6, discussion regarding an interlocal agreement between Twilla County School District and Grantsville City. Should have a paper there. As you all know, the school district has been using the city's park for the eternity of Grantsville, so yesterday I was there at the fields. There were baseball games going on, softball games going on, soccer game and tennis, and there was a volleyball game in the gym. So you can imagine what the parking situation and the traffic situation was on Cherry Street. All of those were school uses. Obviously, they can use the gym for the volleyball game. That's nothing to do with us, but we've got to figure out a new agreement. This is just, the traffic is just not safe. And the usage for the fields, I think when I was growing up here, this worked out just fine, but 30 years later, it's a different Grantsville than it was then, and the number of residents, there are 3, how many did they tell us with the Grantsville baseball? Did anybody remember the number they shared with us? I believe 350 kids.
Little League.
Yeah, signed up for Little League, something right
Yeah, I
around
think
there.
48 or 50.
52 for the older.
For the older
Uh-huh.
division
Yeah.
that want to use the high school fields.
Yeah, so 52 kids signed up for baseball that are between the ages of 12 and 15. And they do not have a field to use because the high school is using the field. I understand the need for the high school to use the field. There's not another option. So how do we move forward with this agreement? They are waiting for us to return the agreement to them. So
So the discussion
Need your
was, is
feedback.
that this agreement would be, in we don't have a current agreement in place. This
Correct.
agreement was drafted by the district. And so the goal was, one, to get an agreement in place for the current year and then determine as a council or as a city what we want to do for subsequent years. Heidi mentioned that this has become increasingly more difficult with just no playing space, obviously. And so the conversations were had, you know, what are, you know, from the district level, what specifically does, what is Grantsville asking? And so what was discussed is they could continue to use the fields for this year, but next year they'll have to find another place to play. So, and that goes for the soccer area, it goes for the softball area and for the baseball area. Now, all of that obviously is up for discussion. It's just, you know, it's been a shared success. I guess you could call it a success because it has been. It's pretty amazing the programs we've been able to come out of Grantsville, both, you know, with the limited space that they have to play. So, but what's become more increasingly harder to manage is the fact that it is a city facility and everyone wants to use it. And not everyone can use it when the school district is using it. So, and it's just become more of a conflict.
So with this, are we just saying, hey, you can use ours and we can use yours? Because it's saying that we're gonna have access to their school as well.
Just a little more background on that. So the Little League football program for Grantsville has used the back practice field for forever. And
12 or 13 years, 14
Yeah,
years,
a
as long
long
as it's
time.
been a Little League. Yeah.
yes, and so this year they are planning to take, because there is such limited parking in the high school parking lot, they are taking the portables out of the parking lot and they are moving kind of more of a permanent pod system. It will be 8 or 10 classrooms onto the practice field of the high school. So just behind the high school onto the practice field. So they have now informed the Little League football that they will no longer be able to use that area. And so now they're without somewhere to play, which is a problem we've still got to solve.
Actually, I
They're
did
playing.
speak
Are
with
they
the
gonna go with
president.
Deseret Peak?
They did secure the Deseret Peak for
Okay.
next year. But his
So
question,
they'll have to go off and on with Deseret Peak?
yeah, they only get 4 games. is
Okay.
But they have worked it out where they can go there for next year and make it work. But I mean, obviously, I think they would love a place in Grantsville to be able to do that. So something that the current president and I had a discussion about. So, yeah,
Okay,
anyway.
But I guess what I'm saying, like, what I'm reading here is like, we can use, you know, the gym and stuff for the sociable and our stuff. And then, you know, we're letting them use the parks for their
Yeah, for the
stuff.
sociable, they pay for it specifically.
The city does, or is it
Yes.
the city does?
It's
Well-
not a city-sponsored event.
Oh,
It's
they
not-
pay, yeah,
or
it's
it's
their
the only
It
event
comes
that
out
we-
of their,
that we
comes out of
use
their
is
funds,
the
yeah.
Little Miss Grants.
so Miss Grantsville and Little Miss Grantsville are the only things they are not charging for, is that correct?
I believe that's the one in here, and that's the only city-sponsored event. So.
It said something about police training too.
But yes, we don't have a interlocal agreement with the school. We never have as a city. And so we felt that it was important to actually get something in writing to kind of sort out liability and different things like that.
Okay, so, but, I know, like, do we have the right of first refusal then on these fields? Like, or are we just saying, hey, right now the baseball fields are taken over by them, right? That's what we're saying?
I think.
This says the district
wants to
shall
the right of
have
first
it.
refusal. So we don't love this language. This is
I
what
don't love that.
this is what they proposed to us.
Oh, okay.
And so we're asking
Yeah.
for council's input on
We have anybody leave?
what you would like to see and how long you want this to be. Do you want this to be a year and then say you're off our fields or whatever, that we're gonna have a separate agreement later? How does the council Phil and want that relationship to.
I feel like this needs to be very temporary just to get something on books right now, so we have that on paper, but I feel like we need to do something more permanent, you know,
Like a plan?
like a plan. Wow, that's genius. Yeah, we need a plan. I mean, like, I think right now we have a problem.
Staff is in agreement.
I'm just saying, I think right now we do need to get something figured out because right now it's a problem. And so we need something, but I think it needs to be temporary until we can get an actual plan.
Cause I think how it's written is how it's kind of how it's been in the past. And so if you wanna make any changes to how it's been, we can make some red lines, and that's kind of what the discussion is what do you wanna see in that? If it's a year, what do you wanna see right now? And then what do we not want to do in the future after that?
So I have a question, might be for Christy too, they can help. I know in the past, the high school teams really maintained those fields for a while or did a lot of work on them. Is that still true, or is the city, are we mowing it, doing everything? I know the coaches used to come up.
During season.
Okay. Both teams.
So,
That's
so,
unfair.
yeah, so currently the district is mowing and taking care of the fields, aeration and,
Parts of the fields.
yeah, just the fields themselves.
Just the fields.
Just the fields themselves.
Yep, just the big field, softball field, and inside the soccer field.
I
So,
know at the start of the year, the softball team and the baseball team, and they did it this year again, because I have a kid on the team.
no, they fertilized, aerate. and
They go
mow
out
during
and-
season, and then we take it on.
And those, we
And the
probably
main.
wanna insert a map with this to kind of define those areas a little bit better.
Yeah, so there's some service that starts out the gate. The teams provide some service, they try to get it ready and that took place, but yeah, the overall that is one thing that they are currently doing, you know, they're fertilizing it and I mean, we're watering it with our water and everything, so so it's really just fertilizing and mowing essentially
Right, because we're
Is that
still.
correct?
3 months.
for 3 months. Yeah.
Did you have a question, Ryan?
Well, I think the thing that causes us all heartburn is 2A, right? And just this whole district shall have first right of refusal. And I understand for games that are scheduled and for practices. But I think both Derek and I can attest to the struggle between really practices ending and them lingering, especially on the softball field. And then baseball teams trying to get in a practice or to start a game even, as games start on those dates. And I think we've worked really well together, at least those bodies that govern, the baseball league, the Little League Baseball League, in the past in coordinating games to not be on nights when they're gonna have games and go late. But just to have a coach, and I love our softball coach, but to have a coach tell you, no, you can't get on my field until this time right here, and, you know, we've, you know, given them plenty of time, they started at 2:45 or whatever. And, you know, we can't get on that field until 5:15, so it has been a struggle in the past. I mean, what was that, 10 years ago when we were involved?
Yeah.
So.
Well, baseball and softball season are super intense as far as
A lot.
scheduling as well. You know
Yeah, and we
that.
know what that schedule is going into, but
Yes,
from the
right.
perspective of Little League, I guess
Yeah.
just like I understand, you know, superseded and first right of refusal. But there needs to be some sort of language in there that talks about collaboration, or something to that effect, I would think. To where it's not, it just sounds like they're the end all be all, the almighty, iron fist, so to speak. Where it's you know, it's our property, and I understand that it's their property as well, but I don't think we use their property as much as they use ours.
No, we use it for Miss Grantsville and Little Miss Grantsville to
And
not
that's
be
it.
paid. Every other time,
You have to pay, the social
Right.
has to pay, so I don't know why
Yes.
that's sitting in there.
So I guess,
Yeah.
right, you want us to write it more reflecting that it's more of a Grantsville favorable contract.
Yeah, the city park belongs to us. That's what we want it to.
I guess
reflect.
for right now, or is there a timeline you want this to last for a year and then all the other things kick into effect?
Yeah, I think it might be worth saying, the comment that was made in the discussions is there's a high possibility they won't sign this agreement anyways. So,
Didn't they
Uh,
draft
That's
this
their
agreement?
Yeah, they,
There's a
Yeah,
high
we haven't,
probability
we
they
haven't
won't
put
sign it.
any comments in this so far yet.
This was their drafting.
This was
This
their
is
draft, so I just want
that's
to make
correct.
that
I'm
clear.
I'm
Yeah.
just stating what was stated. So I think, cause I think it's just good to know. Not saying I agree or
But do you get a
disagree with
feeling
that.
why,
I have
Jake?
not
Why-
gone
why-
after
why?
with my opinions or anything like that.
Well-
This is what they presented. I wanted to present it to you.
I'm wondering why that comment
I
was made.
think, I mean, I think historically, there's just been a, hey, this has
This
worked.
is how it's been done.
Yeah, and.
They want it to keep that
the-
way,
You know,
the handshake agreement.
I'm trying to find the right words. It was, yeah, this is just kind of how it's worked and now it's become more difficult, meaning, you know, that we've become more difficult maybe as a city to.
Well,
And I'm trying not to offend anybody but I'm just stating kind of what was stated.
mhm.
And, you know, the hard part in this whole thing is that actually didn't come from the city side originally. It came from the district saying that, you know, the Little League has created an issue for us and we need fields. We could use the park for fields, but we can't use the park for fields because there's a soccer games going on the field. So, which creates the issue, which compounds the issue. So it's pretty complex, but I think that, and my opinion is that we ought to go through this. And if there are things that we don't agree with, we can redline them and present it back. I think the quicker we get an agreement in place, the better off. There isn't really anything that specifies. I mean, I was asking questions if, you know, we have a baseball player that breaks his ankle in a water hole, is he gonna come after the city or is he gonna go after the school district?
and
And
the city.
that's,
We own
yeah, because we own it.
Right.
But who's maintaining it? Is the
Right.
school district maintaining it? Yeah, but is there agreement? No, there's not agreement. So none of those answers are great. And so I think we do need something in place and we should have had something in place. Quite frankly, they should have pushed to have something in place. The school district should have pushed to have something in place. So one, getting that in place, then two, deciding as a city, you know, what do we want to do for next year? You know, so.
It is a little bizarre that like Miss Grantsville gets to use the high school for free, basically because the mayor knows to say you're using my baseball fields, but they did charge a sociable. The original bill was between $10,000 to $12,000. And that
For one
didn't-
day.
That didn't include turning the air on.
You have to pay
So-
extra for air.
Which they didn't do on Saturday.
No, it was really hot.
So, I mean, that's just, but in the school's defense, we did get it lower. We negotiated, I don't even know what we did. We did something and we got it down to half that, I think. But it is just bizarre.
Right, another thing to
The-
point out is when the Little League football was using the practice field for games, I believe the charge was $575 to $600 a Saturday to use those facilities. So why then are they using the fields every single day at no charge? Now, I know part of that was because we were using the restrooms and the concession stand for the Little League football program. But I don't know that the $575, which is what I think the number was, is quite equating to paying to use that little facility for that amount of time, whereas all year long, they're using those facilities at our park, 3 different fields, and not paying a penny. So,
Well, the other thing that's happening, and I'm really surprised that Whitechapel isn't just barricading off their parking lot, like, because it has become a permanent school parking lot.
Uh-huh.
And it's not fair to them either, so.
So if you ask like, what's their backup plan if they don't use our fields to send, where would our high school?
The comment was made, we have other facilities, we would take care of it.
So
I don't know if that
they'd
means they would go up to the junior high and, you know, would spend a couple $100,000 to make that a playable surface for the baseball team and then I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't know how you do that on
James
Hale
or
Street,
something.
that's, there's already a problem there.
I was just told that it wouldn't
Yeah,
be an
they
issue,
said they would
not an
find
issue.
options. Yeah.
So I don't know
But-
if that means we would share, we'd bus our kids to
Desert.
Deseret Peak to share the field with them. I don't, in Bowl or share their facilities, or if it meant, we'd share it with Tooele. The hard thing is there's just has never been a plan. And that's the frustrating part, I think, more than anything is there doesn't seem to be a plan. If they were looking ahead and looking to purchase a new school, which I'm sure we're in the queue for, should be in the queue for, they could at least just purchase the ground and they could put 2 fields and a restroom facility there, and then they could build the rest of the structure later. At least our kids would have a place they could play on. So, and I have 2 boys that have gone through that program, and I have one that's there now. So telling my son, hey, sorry, you're gonna go play in Tooele or whatever so anyway, but it's the right thing to do in my opinion.
We are trying to focus on parks. We are building a park with
We are.
baseball fields.
Right.
And there's probably enough grass there to play football on. I think.
Well, eventually, when we get to the next phases, there will be,
Phases.
yes. But we're a little ways from
We
that.
might be, yeah, we are, I guess.
And
Yeah,
that's hard because we have a park, but we can't use it for any of the, we can't put a little league football over there because school's using it. Those fields, the little league uses a small field, but the larger field now has become an issue, and softball fields can become more of an issue too.
well, and in the fall, you have the high school girls soccer team on the field, so you couldn't use that for
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 football,
football.
for little league football. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's been a fight for a long time with no answers, but I mean, typically we've been a community that's just rivaled around our high school.
Right.
But we rally around that.
We've rallied around that.
Well, and I made a comment that's it's our park, and I don't mean that, I just want to clarify, I'm saying we can collaborate with them, I'm not opposed
Right,
to that, I'm not saying
right.
get off our park. I'm saying,
No.
but I feel like they're kind of hey, this is what we're doing, maybe it's because this is the first draft and we need to come back with a draft, I think we could collaborate, and I think that would be fine. I think the problem is too, is we're just becoming bigger, we have bigger little league teams, we have bigger high school, it's now it's just become a problem where we need to get something on paper and.
That's exactly the problem. It's not that we don't want to be collaborative and we don't want to work together and we don't want to cooperate. We just simply are running out of space for both entities to use the same place.
And we're deficient on parks already.
Yes, we are.
So having one that we can't allow, having one that gets used most of the time also makes that compounded.
So are we voting on this, or can we?
No, this is
No,
just a
just a
discussion. to
dis-
So we
see if
can
there's any
review it
specific-
and maybe give some proposals of what we think should change.
Yeah, you can email me those.
Okay.
We are gonna try to get back to them in the next couple of weeks. is
Okay.
Our goal.
So, the term on this agreement as it's written is 5 years.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I think our understanding when we met with them, we would put this as a year. And so this hasn't been updated since we talked to them.
It's 5 years.
Yeah, and if we wanted to extend a year or do another one for a year, we could do that too. So,
We just get a lot of comments about the girls coming, but let's preserve who we are. Well, that is the sociable on Miss Grantsville in our high school.
Right.
That's all a part of it.
It's all a part of it. Preserving who we are that's the probably biggest part of it, so.
Well, and I think what Jake said too, we'd like to keep the high school here. I mean, people don't want to drive to,
Right.
or we're not saying nobody wants to drive to go see some, their kids play in a different
In a
city.
different place,
If they,
no.
if we, so.
I really like my 20-second commute. to the-
So they wrote this
Yeah.
and they included that the sociable can use the facilities for free. And then, so I think use and scheduling, I think for the season, whatever the season is, I think we have to put a time, just like we talked when we ran it. Like if we had an agreement, like we got the field at 5, but they go to 5:15, we'd have games start right at 5:15 to try to get in 2 games before it got dark. But they'd still be on there just dragging their feet, and we'd have to the second game would go short. We'd get 2 innings, 3 innings maybe. I think we put a time in there, and then on.
Like a time for each team, like you want to.
Like the high school gets
No,
it
the
from
high
like
school team.
2:45 to 4:45. You get it 2 hours a day during the season of February to wherever. And then the city gets it after.
But don't they, maybe this has changed, but they used to have their varsity games and then right after the JV game.
Yeah, so
Game's
if it's a
completely
game day,
different.
it's
Not on
totally.
game day.
We're just talking
Yeah.
about practices. That's where the most contention happened.
Every
was
year,
because you had two converging teams coming onto the field, and then you have a high school team that is wanting to leave on their own time. So,
Is this a problem? Like this baseball season's starting right now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're well into it,
So I
yeah.
think we should even do less than a year because we need, like I said, we need something tempered, but we need to sit down and, because now we're gonna be coming in the same spot next time. And we're trying to come up with agreement when we're already like, it's like, we're trying to decide where a kid goes to school. We need to do that before enrollment
Right.
starts. Like we
So
need
like
to
the
do
end
this
of
before.
the 26.
Yeah, right. Like we say, hey,
Yeah.
let's start talking about this before, so we're not coming up upon the season saying, because right now I feel like we're kind of a little bit under pressure to figure this out. And so I'm like, let's sit down sooner, or like keep negotiations going of like, I mean, I think we should do something. One, it would tell us, it's kind of like a temporary agreement. We see how we like it. How is this working? What needs to be fixed? Do we need to adjust the times? Do we need to say, what's not working? And then we can sit down and look at it again. That's
So
my thought.
every year they have a meeting with all of the coaches and the school district is there and Christie was there this year. So we have representatives from the city and they kind of collectively try to figure out how they're gonna make it work. And so there's concessions that the coaches give to try to, in that process. And they have been really good. I will say, like, they want kids on the field, as well. But they have, a team to coach and no place to play. So, but it's been a really good shared working relationship with everyone. It's just like sharing some sooner or later.
But when you come out of those meetings, do we have an agreement? Is it like, hey, this is what we're gonna do?
No, we need an
No.
agreement.
Yes, we need an agreement.
It was like
It's
we
not
had a
wor-
plan
'cause
to
it's
make a
not
plan.
working. It's not working.
Last
not
5
working.
years.
The last, every year it's the same discussion.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's good to be collaborative, but it sounds like we're doing a lot of talking, but not a lot of actual planning.
Well, and the high school coaches need to be commended because they're put in a tricky situation as well. Any other school in the district, you say the softball team lingering as an example you used, Rhett. Any other team in the district, if they have a big game that week and things weren't looking great at practice, they can practice as long as they need to. They don't have the issue of you gotta be off by 4:45 because we gotta fit in 2 more games tonight on this field. So it's really quite impressive how long this has worked and the collaboration that has taken place all these years to make this work. But it just seems to be that every year it's getting just a little trickier, so. I think at this point, my suggestion is, please make any comments or suggestions on these, email them over. And this will obviously be another discussion item in the future. Christy, do you have anything you want to add?
That, like for the end of the week or?
Yeah,
a week?
That would
I
be
know we're
helpful,
trying
because
to-
we would like to get it returned back to the district and keep that negotiated, because I mean, if we wait too long, the season's gonna be over.
Right.
And then
season's essentially over, but that.
Right, but I guess liability wise, because we don't want anything happening. Before we have something in place.
I have one quick question, Christy, on paragraph F, the costs to F. The district shall pay the custodial and technical expenses incurred during city use of district. Sorry, I'm just reading this, making sure I'm reading. Okay, so with our restrooms, they aren't the park restrooms. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong paragraph, but are they paying anything to maintain the restroom at the park?
No.
No. Okay. So we use they pay the custodial expenses for
We pay
the 2 days
custodial
of the
expenses.
year. And then we pay all them for 3 months, essentially. Is that right? Okay.
So we want to see something like they'll pay during the 3
Yeah.
months, they'll pay for the,
Yeah.
those facilities.
And I get, I get a text about every day about, are the bathrooms going to be opened at the park? I don't know, go check. But it's a constant question of it's just time to be able to move beyond it. Anyway, anything else on this item? No, okay, we're gonna close item number 6. Item number 7. Consideration of resolution 2026-16, amending the Grantsville City fee schedule regarding rodeo ground rental fees. Who is presenting this?
It's your gas.
But you're the rodeo girl.
Okay, so currently in our fee schedule, we have $100 rodeo rental fee. No one knows what that means, so no one's been charged. It's very vague. Is it $100 to go ride for 5 minutes? Is it $100 for the day? Yeah. So basically, we haven't been collecting any fees for that. It's been in our fee schedule, but we haven't been collecting it because no one knows how to charge it because it's vague. So, we did some research on other local facilities in the county and outside of the county with other cities in the Salt Lake Valley and what they do. And this is what's being proposed instead that would allow us to actually get some clarification and begin charging a fee and collecting it. There is a difference for resident and non-resident, so they would have to provide like proof of residency when they're booking. It does for things such as like the 4-H that practices there. We did put in a disclosure that like nonprofits, clubs, and other special circumstances would be encouraged to contact City Hall, so that way we could get a contract in place for them for the year. So that's something that they could contract and negotiate with Michael, just a different terms for their practices rather than having to charge $50 twice a week for their practices. Because we don't want it to become burdensome on the 4-H club.
So we're just looking at the part in green right here. That's the only thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep, everything else, the rest is just
What the
our
current schedule is.
fee schedule for other things.
So is that half a day for 4 hours? Is that for one person? Is that for 100 people?
That's just to reserve the space. So like if I wanted to reserve the space for 4 hours, I can use it for myself, or I could invite all of you to come. Yeah, I get to use it however I see. It's not contingent. We didn't put in there like, what are you using it for?
Mhm.
So.
So if someone wanted to just host a full-blown rodeo all day long, and I'm a resident, $100.
I'll come to your rodeo, Red.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
We had a survey, a lot of people want that, so if you want to put one on.
They did.
I know a few
Facebook,
people
the Facebook comments were pretty,
that want a full-on Grantsville Days rodeo, yeah.
I think we should.
Yeah.
I think this is good. I think we should try it like this and see how it works. And then if we get problems with people like, I'm gonna have a party on the rodeo grounds, we're gonna have a, other guy, there's like,
I mean, to be sure, they could have been doing that for free up until now, so.
Well, but we're right next to the PD, so probably,
Yeah.
that'll get shut down pretty quick.
Well, here's a concern I have. I didn't realize until the last 3 months how much use there really is on the rodeo grounds each day. Nearly every single day that I'm here, there are people back there just riding their horse and I hate the idea of saying, you've got to pay $50.
Yeah, so just to clarify, this is just to reserve the
Okay,
arena. So
so
if it's not,
Thank you.
if it's not
Okay.
reserved, it's free for open ride. If it's not reserved.
It
This,
can be like your park. You reserve the park pavilion.
Okay.
But you can go use it
Anytime.
If it's reserved,
If
then
it's
they're
just
gonna kick you
available,
off,
right,
and then you
okay.
can do that.
Thank
So
you for
basically,
the
it's just a
clarification.
reservation like a park
Got it.
pavilion.
Yeah.
Fair, that way you know you got it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Question I had was regarding the tractor. That's my question. Go ahead. Okay.
Some guys just want to pay to go drive a tractor, that's what it's.
That's right.
I don't, yeah, what?
Why are we
Explain
doing
that maybe.
So
'cause
if
I-
they need, so if they wanted to, like, if the 4-H is doing their year-end rodeo, like their show or whatever, and they want the arena dragged between events, they're going to need to use the tractor. So
Okay.
this would, they would need to have, if that's the
Is
case,
that how it's been done in the past?
They've
Yeah.
been just using it.
willy-nilly.
There's been no key
We just
for the
leave a key.
tractor or
Oh,
anything like
gosh.
that. So we got here, we got a key installed, so no one can
Okay.
just go start it and drive off. And so liability wise, they can't drive it unless they're a volunteer. So if they do want to use the tractor, they'll have to go through our volunteer process, get signed up to do that and be trained on it. And then they're able to use the tractor. Otherwise, they'll have to bring their own tractor or a rake.
Okay.
But like our team does like maintain the arena, so it's not like it never gets worked as is. So if they don't need it specifically like between barrel racers or something else, then they don't need to, it won't be used, but it would just be the ground as it was last worked as is.
Who's training them and making sure they can drive the tractor? And two, are they signing anything that says if I drive this through the fence or the whatever, that they're liable for it?
There'll
Or-
be a liability form through the insurance company, so that's something that we've talked to the Utah Local Governments Trust with, and that's who is our insurance. So it would be,
And that's part of the application form is that they'll provide liability. Again, if it's a full blown event rodeo, they'll have to provide that liability for that.
And remind me, who does somebody contact to reserve this?
that would be Alicia's office.
Oh, okay. You, Alicia, or?
No.
No. Don't call Alicia.
There's actually a form online.
Okay.
And then it goes to Gina.
Okay,
And she does them all.
she does that. All right.
But thanks for.
Like I said, do you feel like those fees are too low? Do you want to increase them?
I'm not the biggest fan of the nonprofits just coming to negotiate, cause what if you like the 4-H better than the, you know, the Little Riders Club or whatever, and they talk and you gave one
I'm
$25
happy to
and the
give that
other.
powers to the mayor.
Oh, great.
We probably should have both, just in case one of us are not available.
Yes,
I think this
But no,
looks-
I agree. If you want,
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to put any leeway.
it's not
Because
like
that's
a-
the question is, do you charge them per day? And there's multiple days they do it, and then it costs them too much and they can't do it. And so that's the idea is like, do you just charge them one and then, or charge them the whole thing, and don't do it back and say, but advertise Grantsville as at your event.
I mean, it's not like a hard no for me, it's just, I could see maybe someone
think that would be an
thinks
issue?
that,
I mean, like nonprofits going to use it. Have they done it
I don't
before?
know, once it becomes more popular,
Yeah,
then we
maybe.
hopefully.
We're gonna
But
make it
right
happen
now, I
anyways.
don't think anyone.
The only time I've been over
4-H.
there is to watch a 4-H one, and I was
But I think
actually
they're the
glad
only
that they were
ones.
using it.
Yeah.
So,
Or unless you wanna put like a, cause that's the question is if you lock it down for a longer period of time. For a lower rate, how do you, someone else could take it during the 4-H time, just. To do their rodeo, so how do you manage that? So we're open,
yeah, somebody's gonna have to
so that's why there's coordination on that, that's
coordinate
why
it.
we're hoping for that event, and we're just talking, if they did it for like, what, 4 days, then it's just that amount of money, and so if that makes it impractical for them, do we wanna prevent them from doing that? And giving us the power to negotiate that, that's, again, it's not gonna be life changing for the city.
Well, in the past, have we not charged them anything before?
Correct.
right.
I think we should keep it the same. I mean, like, if we haven't charged them in the past, I think we keep the nonprofits. But I think this looks good.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I
The
think it's a
only
great idea.
thing is just the use of the lights. That is something that I would think would be separate if someone wanted to utilize it at night. I mean,
I
they
think
just turn on the lights. I mean, those are metal halide lamps, those.
It's
those
gonna
suck
cost
the-
us a lot,
It's
yeah.
gonna suck the juice.
And then turning them on, you're gonna have that initial cost per month fee or whatever for the power company,
Yep.
so. They get pretty pricey when you turn on lights, so we can look at that as a separate fee if you wanna have that added.
Right now, would it include the lights
But-
as is? I guess we don't know.
We don't
Well, it
know.
would be for free if it was just show up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
But if
unless
someone
all the
wanted to
lights
use
are
the
on one meter, it's gonna be tough we'd have to figure out which meters they're connected to and then, I guess, read them before they start or just do a flat usage.
I think
fee
a
for-
flat light fee, yeah.
Is what you're gonna have to do, and what would that be? $100 a night, cause you're probably gonna spend more than that.
Has it ever been
Utilities.
used at night?
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
to be sure though, if they're using it at night without a reservation and they turn the lights on, then I don't really know how we would.
Yeah.
I mean, then they're still just using the lights for free.
Yeah.
I guess you lock down
Light
the
usage
switch
fee,
on
just-
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Period. Yeah, if you wanna use the
Maybe we
lights.
could put quarters in, like.
yeah,
Like the tennis courts.
like the vacuums at the car
No,
wash.
we're better, we
Exactly.
get credit card.
Yeah.
You're not gonna want quarters.
Dollar bills, $100 bills.
let's put a donation bucket next to it.
Yeah.
Morgan's
Those tend to walk
$4 is
off.
what you need.
Does the high school rodeo club use this facility? Do we wanna put that in the last agreement we just
Yeah,
talked
I was
about?
thinking the same thing.
I don't know, that's why I asked, I don't know if they use it or if they go up to
The high
the
school rodeo.
complex.
I kind of
Yeah.
think they go to Deseret Peak, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I'm wondering, are we creating a problem here? I mean, like, if people now be like, shoot, now I gotta pay because I wanna reserve it, or? I think we don't know what we don't know, and so like it.
Well, it's free right now, and so we
Yeah.
wanna actually start having the ability to make it functional, know what we're actually gonna be charging for, and if we do make that motion, we can make the motion to include utility payment line in there and an amount.
Or, I mean, it's free now. It's in our fee schedule to be at $100, but if you're wanting to not do anything, you could propose, we just take it out. But I think we can't include it in our fee schedule as it is, and just because there's nothing. It's in there at $100, but we're not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
Right, no
Like,
direction.
no one knows how to charge
Well, I
that, so
like
either
this because
you
it
take
says,
it out
but I also
or.
think it is beneficial for somebody to be able to reserve it and say like, oh, I hope I can go over there and have my, I wanna go do this thing. It would be nice for somebody to reserve it. I mean, they can do that now, but like you said, we just don't have any clarity, so I think
Yeah.
this gives some clarity. And we can, but I do think we should charge for the lights too, if it is gonna cost us.
Sure.
Can I also, do we wanna specify like half day, 4 hours, cause somebody could say, oh, I want it from 8 to noon, and then somebody else could be like, well, my 4 hours started at 9, and you know what I mean? I mean, we do have a calendar, but I don't know if we wanna get into that, I don't know. Just a thought.
I
So are you
think
saying,
Gina
like-
would have to deal with
I
that.
think when they
yeah.
apply, we'd want the
Yeah.
time and the time, or the date and time that they are gonna do it, so that way there's no overlap.
Yeah.
No, it'd be nice to be able to get some dollars to put to work. I mean, there's been a lot of discussion of a rodeo and very positive discussion and, the grounds are gonna be in need of, not that $50 is gonna do much out there, but
I'm gonna bring in a
it's
lot.
not a profit center really, and quite frankly, it shouldn't be, in my opinion. It is a benefit to the residents and trying to find a balance there so they can use it and, anyway. So I think this is a great move in the right direction, so.
Do we wanna put something in there? So like if we do the rodeo, if Shelby does it, like, since they're splitting ticket fees and stuff like that, do we put something like, if it's like that, we waive this so you don't have to pay the daily thing, cause we're kinda working together? Or is that gonna be a city sponsored rodeo?
It would be city sponsored.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, never mind, ignore what I said.
I do think I do think we need to address utilities, cause that obviously. Probably if they ran the lights for an hour, your $50 isn't gonna cover the lights.
Do we know what the lights cost per hour?
No,
No.
right now, we could have to figure, we will have to figure that out, I think we
Okay.
could approve it as is and then bring that back with the
With
power
that
decision.
information.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a
And
good
add
idea.
that to as another line item.
I
in
think
there.
it's good.
All right, is there any more discussion? If not, if someone would like to make a motion?
So I make a motion, we approve resolution 2026-16, amending the Grantsville City fee schedule regarding rodeo ground rental fees.
A motion by Councilmember Butler, Williams, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
A second by Councilmember Skinner, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, passes, thank you. Item number 8, consideration of resolution 2026-13, adopting the 2026 Municipal Wastewater Planning Program report.
The city has to fill out this report every year. And part of the report asks when it's been approved by council. So we've actually already submitted it, saying that this is the date that you would approve it. It goes through and asks general questions about our fee schedule, about emergency plans, about your future planning.
This is required by the state.
Mhm. How many lines of sewer you have? Miles, excuse me.
Do they know how many hours we've talked about sewer in the last? No, they don't.
I'm assuming that you've gone through this, you probably assisted in filling it out, but it's accurate. And I mean, I looked through
So
Sure, yeah,
Marcus, Aspen and I.
all three of you. Okay. There's much of any discussion.
No, this is just a report, right? This is just
Yeah.
what we're saying, this is what we have.
Yep.
All right, Mayor, I move that we, motion that we approve resolution 2026-13, adopting the 2026 Municipal Wastewater Planning Program MWPP report.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Skinner and a second by Councilmember Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 9, consideration of resolution 2026-14, approving a wildland fire management cooperative agreement.
That's you, chief.
That one's more. All right, good evening, Mayor and council members. For the record, my name is Fire Chief Jason Remick, and I'm here tonight to request approval for the 2026 cooperative agreement between Grantsville City and the Utah Division of Forestry Fire State Lands for wildland fire protection. This agreement is the framework that allows our crews to pivot rapidly, initial attack and wildland fires within our response area, while also ensures we can quickly access the state resources up to and including incident management support and aviation when an incident grows beyond our local capacity. This is how we make money off the state when we go out on wildland fires. They pay us. They pay the fire department. They pay the city.
I think that's another thing we do every year, right?
Yeah. And this is a 5-year agreement.
Or 5-year agreement.
This question probably doesn't pertain to this agreement at all in any way, shape or form, but I just had to clarify the discussion that's been had at the state level to change areas that are designated as fire zones.
So wooey, that's totally different than
Okay,
this.
I just wanted to make sure that wasn't, okay, because anyway, yeah. I got an
Totally
opinion
different
on-
conversation.
Okay, all right.
Is this
perfect.
just so standard? Is there anything different in here that you guys?
No, this is the same thing, just then we get paid back for when we go out on the state lands.
Well, this is
And
just-
if we break a truck, they fix the truck.
Does what they pay you increase over everything, or does it kind of stay the same? all the
It's
agreements?
kind of went up and up a little bit. I mean, they pay pretty good when we go out on fires, so. Our tender's what makes the money when we go park it out and they use it for weeks. And I get a feeling this year, we're gonna need it.
Yeah, I mean, money's great, but just would rather not have any fires, so.
I agree. I would rather not have fires. Last year was very slow,
So we
so.
might not have any fires, there might not be anything to burn. Might all be dead, completely dead.
Just dirt.
Is there anything in this agreement I mean, obviously gone through this, go through it every year. Is there anything that has changed or anything we need to be aware of that's different or anything that concerns you?
Not at this point, no. And obviously, Michael and the attorney will be signing the agreement. I will not be.
And we've reviewed it. We don't have any problem with it, right, Tyson?
Correct. Mayor, I'll make a motion. We approve resolution 2026-14, approving a wildland fire management cooperative agreement.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Dalton. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief. Item number 10, consideration of a proposed revision update to the city's annexation policy plan. Thank you, Bill.
Hello, everybody. Great meeting. Thank you very much. This is a proposal to update our, excuse me. Oh, that just got me. Our annexation policy plan. An annexation policy plan is not required, but it's recommended that cities have them. And if you're going to have them per state code, there are some requirements that we have to follow, including some noticing requirements that we just found out about. And so we'll bring this back to you in mid-April for an actual approval. But since it's on the agenda, and it's a good idea to warm you guys up to what is in the document anyway, this is a good time to talk about it. But we just can't take any action on it tonight. So this item is a statement of policy. It's what it's saying is, in essence, this is where we anticipate the city to grow out to in the next 20 to 50 to 100 years. And really what it means is, as a property develops anywhere within the annexation area, the city has the first bite of the apple, the first right of refusal on whether or not we accept an annexation petition into the city. This covers three main areas. Area A is on the northwest quadrant of the city that extends from the Broken Arrow area all the way north and includes Stansbury Island. Area B, and it's a little hard to read on that, but this mostly the 6 Mile Ranch area, the area north and west of Mid-Valley Highway. And then area C is the southwest quadrant of the city. And it's mostly open space and wouldn't be anticipated to remain open space with large lot kind of development. And the reason why the city would want to entertain this kind of thing is a couple of reasons, actually. As we look to the future and as areas continue to feel pressure to develop, the city would want to have a say in how that develops and what that looks like. We would want to make sure that the infrastructure costs are being borne by developers, not by the city. We would want to make sure that that infrastructure as it goes in meets city standards as well. We would apply things like zoning regulations and other things out there in those to be annexed areas. And so while this is not anything more firm than this is area that we anticipate annexing into the city, if and when that time ever comes, it still is our, like I say, our bite of the apple to say this is where we anticipate annexing property into the city. One other thing I want to make clear, nowhere in here is the city on the hook for any kind of infrastructure development. We're not paying for roads, water, sewer, or any of those other kinds of connections. The developers, as they annex into the city, would have to hook onto, at their cost, our existing system and pay impact fees that would help offset the impact on our existing infrastructure. So I just want to make that clear. This is not us saying we're going to go grab this land and pull it into the city without any kind of funding or anything like that for infrastructure.
So is this for somebody that wants to annex into the city? They were saying, here's the plan, and if you want to do that, here's what you have to follow. That's kind of what this is.
Yes, that's exactly right. And which areas the city is designating as we would entertain that.
Yeah.
So for example, there are some properties obviously that are either in Erda or Tooele or, maybe even that area between area A and C that we would not consider to be areas that we would annex into the city. But the areas A, B, and C are definitely areas we would consider if they could bring the infrastructure in with them. We would consider that.
Does anyone have any questions on that or have anything they want to discuss regarding the annexation plan?
Stansbury Island seems like a far-fetched, I don't know, it just seems like anything on the other side of I-80, I just don't know if that's something we need to look that far out into. If someone wants to create a city on Stansbury Island, and then more power to them. And I'm not saying we'd annex that in. I mean, it would have to be a decision, right? At a different council at a different date, but.
I think what this does, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, it just means that we have the first right to it.
The first bite of the apple.
Yeah.
You mentioned that. I get it.
I think what we would like to avoid, and this is just me speaking for myself, but what I think we would like to avoid is a situation like Eagle Mountain where they developed way out in the middle of nowhere to avoid the costs of coming into a city, and they formed their own. And now, I mean, you've seen what has happened out there.
It's crazy. I was just out there. It was crazy.
It's not very well done. I'm just gonna, and we want to avoid that kind of thing. So Stansbury Island, yes, probably not in our lifetime or my children or my grandchildren's lifetime would that ever develop. And the other thing is that I think it's about 2/3 of the island is owned by the BLM anyway. So it's highly unlikely that would ever develop. But there are other industrial type uses out there that one could see wanting to develop out on the island. Things like salt processing or mineral mining or lithium. I know that's a big one too. If that were to come out and they had enough horsepower to get our services out there or wanted to, glom onto our ability to provide services, that could be something that we would want to consider at that point, because that would be a very nice tax base kind of income revenue source for us. And we'd want to consider that. So again, just to make another thing clear, the Planning Commission did review this map. This was their recommended map and the policy plan as written. And so they voted to make a recommendation for approval of the annexation policy plan. So.
Bill, just for education, really, this question has nothing to do with this, and I've just been pondering our earlier 2 or 3 times since I've been on the council, we have discussed paying an upcharge fee to increase the size of a line. Given the growth that we know is happening, why wouldn't we just require the upsized line, if that makes sense?
Yeah, there's a delta between what a developer requires for a development, say it's a 12-inch water line.
Right.
And the what we can anticipate as a city with engineering and careful planning and anticipating the zoning and everything else that's going on. Maybe we want a 15 or an 18-inch line.
Right.
We pay the difference. So if it's
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Why are we doing that?
Well, because for a couple of reasons, it's much less expensive to pay for that 6-inch difference in the water line size.
Increase.
And it's only one trench at one time, and as opposed to having to go in again in the same vicinity and either put in a separate line or rip the road back out 10, 15, 20 years later and put in that 15 or 18-inch line that we should have done when they first did it.
A prime example is the Ivory Home water line that goes up to our new $2 million tank.
Right.
they only needed, I think, a 12-inch line, and we upsized it to 16. We're only paying 100,000 for that, and they're paying a couple million to put in the line.
And so we can't.
There's an
require them to get
efficiency.
We can't
16.
require
That's
it.
what I-
That's
And
what
so
I'm
we
asking.
pay the difference between that, and then we get that extra
Capacity.
capacity that we can.
But we
use other
can't say if you
places.
wanna come in,
They
you have to
pay
be
their
16.
impact.
Correct.
No,
Yeah,
right, correct.
but anyone that ties to that,
Then
Then they pay,
pays.
that's the
Mhm.
And
impact
that's
fees
the
that we-
impact fee that we can charge.
then we, yeah,
We
we would,
recoup those costs.
Right.
So the Vegas Street line,
Yep,
the city obviously didn't pay to upgrade that line when it was put in.
we should have,
We should have.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's,
So
it's
how
hard to
do
say.
How do we plan better, or is that, does this help us? in any-
Well, without false modesty, that's why you hire a guy like me to come in and help. No, I'm being serious. You hire a guy like me, I'm not saying me necessarily, you know, whatever, but someone that's has the experience and foresight to look forward and say, you know, guys, we're paying $3 million to put in this sewer line. If we paid another 500,000, it would service not just this area, but every other area in the vicinity for the next 100 years. And that cost is only getting more expensive. And because the developer is doing it right now, he's paying the lion's share of it, and we're just paying a very minor upsizing charge.
Yeah, which we've done enough. So,
Yeah,
like your answer, good job.
yeah, thanks.
Perfect. So we're not approving this
We cannot.
tonight, right?
No, but if you
Right.
do have questions or thoughts or concerns, let me know. And if I've missed something or I'm misspelling or whatever, let me know, please, and we'll make those adjustments as necessary. But we feel good about where this is going, and the planning commission recommends approval as well. So that's where we're at with that. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other items of discussion for that? Are we ready to move on?
Right.
Okay. All right, we'll close item 10 and move to item 11. Consideration of ordinance 2026-17, approving amendments to chapter 2 of the Grantsville City Land Use and Management Code.
So if Shelby were here, and she's not, bless her, she's taking care of some family things, and yeah, that's wonderful. She would go through this line by line, and I'm prepared to do that if you'd like, but my style is more of to open it up to questions or just give you a general overview of what's going on. If you have any concerns or thoughts that way.
Yeah, I think, will you give us the overview and then we can ask questions?
Okay, perfect. So chapter 2 is our definitions chapter of the ordinance, and I think that's pretty obvious. Some of the things that were in there are better placed where they're closer to the questions of concern. For example, most of the ones that are in red that you'll see that are deleted have to do with our sign ordinance, which is in chapter 20. So those got removed from this chapter, and they will be placed in chapter 20 when those changes are brought before you in a couple weeks. There are other things that were in here that needed a little bit of tweaking, just in the name of clarification and just, yeah. And so you'll notice there are a few minor little tweaks here and there, but then the larger ones are the big definitions in green. That if you could go down, I think there's like a conditional use permit definition. Keep going.
There's dozens of them.
Keep going.
So.
Yeah, there you go. So there's community garden. We didn't have a definition for that, although that was a use in one of our use tables. So we wanted to define that. Concept plan. This is an interesting one because state code does not require a concept plan, but if a developer wants to, this is where it's defined as to what we're looking for. And then conditional use permit, we kind of fleshed that out here. We've got to separate it out into conditional use and conditional use permit. So those are what you see in green there is all new information. And there are several of them that are like that.
So this was, proposed through obviously planning and zoning, and they vetted through this the last
It's been several months, really.
3 meetings
Yeah,
at least.
And we're just talking definitions here, so we're just defining some of these
Correct.
terms. Any of the red ones that are outlined, we're taking those out and putting them in different chapters just so they fit with.
Yes, that's right.
So, okay. So we're not like taking them out completely, they're just gonna be placed.
move to, like I said, most of
More.
them are going to chapter 20, which is our sign ordinance, and all of the sign definitions didn't make sense here. Let's move it to chapter 20 where it's a little closer to the action, as it were.
Yeah, like we have electric awning sign is taken out now.
Exactly.
Percentage.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That looks like a lot of legalese.
This was approved unanimously by
Yep.
planning and zoning?
Yep.
Do we define the front yard?
Kind of.
Oh.
It looks like it.
Let's go there.
You had to go there.
Corner lot.
Corner lot, I didn't see the corner lot, I didn't see the front yard.
Yeah, corner lot,
Street facing lots rather than front yards.
Just one thing on number 96, family food production. I'm not gonna get into what we talked, what they all went into, but it says 96 and then it says 104 next to it. So I don't know what, if that was a mistake or keep going, 96.
go up.
It's on page
Oh, it's not.
51.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go there.
I can,
On my, oh, it's different on mine.
Oh, the numbering,
Page
Yeah.
51.
you just had it. Go, keep going down just a little bit. It's under family. There you go.
Right there.
I think the numbering is off. I
Yeah.
think it was meant to be 96.
Yeah.
And that whole.
That's-
portion
It's
will
just
be
96, but it
anyways.
was prior to that, it was 104.
So we just need to take out the one.
Yeah.
I can change clerical things like that.
Yeah, those are de minimis changes that don't affect the. Yeah.
Is this just to give more clarification for like, are we having issues with this? Is just put more things?
We do actually have a few somewhat significant issues with some of these definitions. A lot of what's driving this is clarification for staff. So that when someone comes in and says, I want to do family food production, well, what does that mean? Well, now we know. We can point directly to this, and we can help guide residents and applicants to say, this is what's allowed. This is how many chickens and geese and whatever else you get to have. And I think we even squeezed a horse in there too. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, so you get to have a horse for family food production. I don't know what that means. I'm just gonna leave that to your imagination.
Well, I could give you an example.
Well, I know you can.
So,
It doesn't say that you're eating the horse, it just talks about.
Well, but you know, your son's going to Paris for a couple of years, right?
He
Maybe
is.
he'll have a hankering for it. I don't know. Anyway. Again, the idea was to help provide that clarity for applicants as well as staff to know exactly what is meant by family food production. Employee was another one. What does an employee mean?
Home occupation is a very large one.
A home occupation is a big one, and it is of necessity a big one. A home occupation really should be something, and the example I use for it is like the little old lady, and this is my sweet mother when I say it, who has a quilting machine in her basement, and she makes and sells them on Etsy or wherever and ships them all over the world. But the UPS guy comes once a day and brings her fabric or whatever, and then they take the quilts that she's already prepackaged and hauls them away. And other than that one delivery a day, you would never know that there's a thriving $1 million business going on in my sweet mother's basement, and there's not. She does do quilts, but she doesn't make $1 million. She could, she just, anyway.
The Amazon guy would be the same.
Yeah.
What's that?
The Amazon guy delivering would be the same amount of traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
So is that on page 63? Is that micro? I know we had a discussion.
Yeah,
Micro.
that was one that we'd already approved, so I'm not sure if it shows up in green again.
Did we not have MDA?
We did not, and so this helps again to define those terms and provide that clarity that we're looking for.
It's a lot of work for community development team to do
Yeah.
this, so.
No, a lot of cleanup, appreciate it.
And when he says team, what he really means is Shelby. And I better give credit where it's due.
On 179, master MDA, that should have been corrected to say often between developer and the city, not landowner / client. So the
Oh,
MDA is not an agreement between the developer and the landowner.
We can change that. Good one. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Other questions? I do want to shout out for Shelby, for real. She is phenomenal. She's a huge asset for our department and for the city. And she's my right-hand person, and we couldn't do what we need to do without her help and her expertise. And she's awesome. So thank you, Shelby, if you're listening.
Thank you, Shelby.
That's a big one right there.
Overlay district, yeah.
Do we feel like I guess this is a staff question, do we feel like we've addressed everything?
No, but we'll be back. This is a constant, I mean, really, it's a constant iterative process. You'll see when we're in front of you in a couple of weeks with the big one, that it's always gonna be a little something. And it's not just responding to deficiencies that we as staff note in the code, but state code changes every year. The regulations that we're required to deal with case law coming out, national Supreme Court decisions, and it's a constant state of revision. And on one hand, that's just job security for me and Shelby, right? But on the other hand, it is a constant revision to make sure that our code reflects the needs, desires, and goals of the city. And that's the importance of it.
Tyson? From a legal standpoint, are you good with this?
Yes, we've been through this several times. I was able to quickly note that one in the MDA. It's not the first time I saw that. That's something that I've been glaring for a little while, and that there were not other issues like that were standing out. We've gone through this several times.
Thank you.
Any other questions or, yes, go ahead.
Are we good?
He was gonna motion.
I was gonna motion.
Yes.
Let it rip.
Okay. Mayor, make a motion, we move to approve ordinance 2026-17, approving amendments to chapter 2 of the Grantsville City Land Use and Management Code.
We have a motion by Councilmember Thomas. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
And a second by Councilmember Skinner. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Thank you. Thank you to Shelby and all those others who were involved in that.
And B and Z.
Yes.
And planning and zoning, because they have been through this extensively, line by line. So thank you for pointing that out. We will now need a motion to move into a closed session.
Mayor, I'll make a motion, we move into a closed session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, motion by Councilmember Dalton, a second by Councilmember Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for your
Sneak to the
attendance.
bathroom
With that
fast.
motion,
Yes.
I make a
5 minutes.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh.